YouTube, it's Erin, and I am the Handbag Housewife, and I'm back again with another video. Today's video is going to be, as promised, a double Louis Vuitton unboxing or reveal. I have two Louis Vuitton items I want to show you, and I couldn't be more excited. I also have something very special to show you that I got from Rose Forever. And I need to show it to you today because it is a gift for my mother-in-law's birthday. And she watches my videos at least part of the time, but I'm going to see her later on today. And I don't think she'll watch this one before I see her. And so I wanted to go ahead and show you how beautiful they are before I give them to her. So here is the box. It is gorgeous. It is a cardboard box that's made to look like marble. And on the side, they do have their logo in a pretty metallic gold, as you can see. But the true beauty is what you can find inside the box. As I'm opening up this box, the most heavenly, wonderful, real rose scent is wafting up towards my nostrils. And here are the fabulous roses. I don't know if you can remember, but I got some roses that were red in a velvet box from Rose Forever a few months back, and I absolutely love them. And when my mother-in-law visited, she saw them and was like, oh my goodness, those are gorgeous. I would love to have some. So I tucked that away in my brain, and when my Rose Forever rep reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do a Valentine's Day collaboration, I said, you betcha, and I know exactly what I want to get. So this bouquet is 36 real roses in red, of course, and they are preserved with natural oils, nothing artificial, and are guaranteed to last for a year, if not more. I know there are many YouTubers out there who've been receiving roses from Rose Forever for quite some time, and their roses are still going strong even a few years later. But a year is a long time for a bouquet to last. Generally, you'll spend $100+ on a bouquet and they'll die within 3 to 5 days. Well, this bouquet of 36 roses is going to last you for at least a year, and the price tag is not all that much more than what a florist might charge. These roses are, I believe, around $217 on the website, and I have a code HBHW25 to get you an extra $25 off that. So that is the beautiful bouquet of red roses I wanted to show you. Let's get into the Louis Vuitton unboxing extraordinaire that I have for you today. So, oops, I did it again is right. This Louis Vuitton unboxing came straight from Fashionphile, and I've got some explaining to do. I actually want to talk to you about Fashionphile's Reserve program because that's how I got this item, and I don't normally use Fashionphile's Reserve program, but I'm going to tell you why I did. So let me show you what it is, and then I'll get into that story. When Fashionphile sends an item, they put it in their dust bag and then generally tuck the Louis Vuitton or whatever brand dust bag inside the bag. And that's what they did for this item, but I went ahead and put it in the dust bag from Louis Vuitton, and I don't have the Fashionphile one to show you on hand. So let's get into what's inside here, and then I'll tell you the story. So you see, I got the beautiful Clapton bag with the, I believe, Magnolia pink leather accent to the damier ebene canvas. Now, when I received the item, they tucked the strap into the back pocket, which I don't like. I wish they wouldn't have done that. And also, something unusual is they hooked the do not remove tag, or it's yours, to the actual clip on the bag strap, and so I can just take it off. So rather than cutting it, I'm going to do that, and then I can show you everything without that tag being in the way. The Clapton bag has been discontinued by Louis Vuitton, and so if you want to pick one of these up, you have to do it on the pre-loved market. And it comes in a variety of colorways. It comes in a beautiful pink, comes in black, and it also comes in a color that's a burgundy shade, and I'm not sure of the exact name of that color either. But I chose the pink. It was the one in the best condition on Fashionphile when I placed my order. And it said in the description that the hardware had faint scratches, that the exterior had some faint scuffs and creasing, but it didn't say anything about corner wear, so I was happy about that. And I think it might have said that there was a little bit of surface wear on the interior or scuffs, and I didn't notice any of that. So as far as the story time goes, I'm going to show you the details of the bag, so stick with me. But I think this is kind of important to let you know, and so you're aware of how this all went down. But a while back, I bought a beautiful Tiffany key pendant and necklace from Fashionphile, and it was like $300, around that price. But I got $175 off because they'd given me a gift card for a previous purchase I had made where the item was not described correctly, and that would have been my twist. And so I had that pendant until nearly the end of its return window, and I decided that it was just going to be too big for me to wear. And I had been excited about it. It was a beautiful piece, but I wished that the key had been, I guess, more delicate. And so because of that, I returned it and I had a $175 credit. On top of that, I had also sold my Valentino Rockstud Flip Lock bag in the Celadon or the mint shade to Fashionphile. And rather than getting the cash, I went ahead and took the site credit so I could get an extra 10% in money that I could use towards a future purchase rather than just taking the lower amount in a payout. That's something that you can do. You can go in and change how you want to be paid on the Fashionphile website, whether it be a Neiman Marcus gift card, which will give you an extra 10% payout, a Fashionphile site credit, which will give you an extra 10% payout, or just a straight buyout, which is 10% less. And so basically with that bag, I took the extra 10% in store credit. So I had the $175 plus I had the credit I got for that Valentino bag, which was around $700. It worked out, I had about $900 in store credit that I could use on whatever I wanted. However, I had to wait for my return to get back to Fashionphile before I could buy this beauty, because I didn't want to spend the money on this until I got my gift card credit back. And that takes a while for all of that to get processed. In the meantime, I found this bag and it was on sale. It was $100 off, so it was $17.90. And it was marked down to $16.90, but the sale was ending on the day and I wanted to get the sale deal. So I looked it over really well. I took into account the description. I tried to look for the faint hardware scratches and the creasing and all that. And I just really didn't see what they were talking about. So as far as creasing goes, I think what they are talking about is maybe right here. And honestly, I'm not sure that that's a crease or if it's just the natural grain of the leather. So that was one thing that maybe was the exterior creasing that they were talking about. When I got the bag, the hardware on the D-rings and the clips on the strap, they looked brand new, or they look brand new. And so I feel like this bag maybe wasn't worn or was worn just a couple times, because these little D-rings do get scratched up, especially right on the inside where there's friction up against the rings. They get scratched up really quickly. So that made me think that possibly this bag had been worn very little, if at all. But the one area I felt like that they didn't disclose that there was an issue, I've cleaned up to the best of my ability and I'm pretty darn happy with it, but it was this clasp. So the clasp, they said it had faint scratches, and that was it. And there was so much tarnish around each one of these screws. There was a big tarnish spot right there. And I have polished it within an inch of its life with some jewelry cleaning cloths. I've even used a little bit of ketchup on it, and I've got it pretty close to being tarnish free. The only area where there was, I guess you could call a little bit more than faint scratches, was on this bar. And I have put a hardware protector on just that bar. But the rest of it is all hardware protector free, and I think it looks really pretty. I mean, it's super shiny. I think it's beautiful. I do notice that this bit right here is a little darker in color than up here, and this was where that major tarnish was, and so that's why. But it's very slight, and it's such a pretty bag that I'm willing to overlook that, especially because the clasp is something that is going to develop wear and tear over time, and I could at some point replace this clasp by going through Louis Vuitton's repair service app. That's something I could definitely do. I have had a clasp replaced by Louis Vuitton in the past. I had my Lock Me bags clasp replaced, and it was around $195. So I would guess if I had this replaced, it would probably be less than $400. I don't know that for sure, but that's just a guess. And so if I ever wanted to, and I certainly don't need to now because look at how beautiful it shines and sparkles, but if I ever wanted to, I could replace this. I have looked at so many of these on the pre-love market, and almost all of them have tarnishing. And so I would say if you find one that doesn't, you're going to be lucky. If you find one that does, you can get most of it off, but don't expect to be able to get all of it off, because I've tried 3 or 4 different things. I even used a little bit of Brasso, and nothing is going to completely remove it, in my opinion. I mean, I've worked on it a few hours at least, and I don't think it's going to get much better than what I have it at. So let me explain the Fashionphile Reserve program, since I did in fact use it this time around. I generally don't, because if you want to return something that you have put on reserve, you lose your 10% deposit, which can be quite substantial. So for this bag, I put down $169, and if I decided I wanted to return it, I would lose that $169. Now, in their terms and conditions, they clearly say that you need to ask any questions you may have. You need to ask for extra pictures if you want them before you make your purchase, basically enabling them to not make any exceptions with that 10% down that you are paying. Now, you do have, I believe, 60 days to pay for your bag in full, and you can make as many payments as you want as long as they are over $50, I believe, unless it's your last payment. Then, of course, it can be under $50. So in my case, I made the purchase of this bag after hours, so I couldn't get more pictures from New York, which is where it was, and also the sale for the $100 off was ending that night, and I wanted to make sure I got the $100 off. And so I went ahead and took a leap of faith and figured that the bag would be just fine, and I am very happy with it. My only issue with it would be that I think that the clasp description should have been a little bit more thorough in terms of mentioning that there was tarnishing on it. And I think that the scratches on that bar part of it were a little bit more than faint, but just a little bit. And the clasp on this bag is going to get worn just by its nature. And I do think it's made better than the Pochette Métis clasp. I think it holds up to scratching way better because the Pochette Métis clasp is so sensitive that even with a hardware protector on it, it can still get scratched. I've had that experience myself personally with my Turtle Dove Pochette Métis that I had a while back. So that is the information I wanted to share with you about the Fashionphile Reserve program, is to know that that 10% down, according to their terms, is not refundable because you're supposed to ask questions before you buy. And number 2, you have a couple months to pay it off. In my case, I used it so that I could get the deal before I got my gift card reimbursement to use on this bag. The other thing is if you want to use a gift card on a Fashionphile Reserve purchase, you can't apply it yourself online. You have to call them, but then they are happy to do it for you. So let's do a tour of the bag now that I have rambled on so much. It has this gorgeous piping that goes all the way around. And as you can see, the D-ring is clipped on in the front on this side. The Magnolia leather folds over the top. And then the back has a generous slip pocket, which is lined in a microfiber. There was just a slight bit of, I don't know if it was discoloration along this top edge. And it could have honestly been a little bit of fading or where that material stretched a little thinner, but I did run some wet wipes over it, and it is looking almost brand new. The interior of both the pocket and the interior of the bag both looked brand new, except for what looked like just that slight a bit of fading at the top. But the back of it is mostly the damier ebene. I have sprayed it already with Colonel Carbon Pro. The feet kind of tell a story with handbags as to how much they've been used, because they do get wear. That's what they're designed to do. Now, a lot of people say that the feet are pretty useless on this bag, but my feet on my bag here, they actually touch the table and keep the edges off of the table just barely. I mean, it's hard to believe it with the way that the bag's angled, but I have tested it out and it is true. Now, I think I've switched around to the other side, but if for some reason I've mixed myself up, the D-ring is on the opposing side on this side of the bag versus on that side. And I'm not sure why they did that, other than that they didn't want to put it in the middle where the bag dents in. And so instead of having them both on one side where the bag would tip funny, they alternated the sides to keep it more even when it's hanging. The strap that comes with the bag is a tonal strap and matches the Magnolia leather, and I am able to wear it comfortably kind of in the middle of the adjustments. And again, another reason why I think this bag wasn't used very much is there's no dent from where the strap was adjusted other than this very slight little bend, and usually you get more wear and tear on the strap if it's used a bunch at a particular setting. Let's open her up and check out the inside. So I love that the inside here is leather, because if it was that light pink microfiber on the inside of the flap, it would show a lot of dirt and grime. That's one thing I have to be careful about with my Georges BB bag, because it's like a light cream on the inside of the flap. On the inside of this hardware, there is just an ever so slight amount of tarnishing that I wasn't able to get off. And then you can see there are some slight little dents, and that I believe is from where it was hitting this bar. And that's why I went ahead and protected that bar, so that doesn't get worse. Because the bag was barely used, in my opinion, I think that that would be one of the first things that would really start to show wear. I do have some items inside. This is my bag of the day, and you can see I have oodles of space. I have my 2 key pouches in this front pocket. And then as you can see, a Tide to Go stick. I have a key fob, an AirPods case, and my little pouch, which is a little jewelry pouch that I keep medicine in. In the center pocket, I've got a few things like cash and a comb. In this back pocket, I have my pouch down at the bottom, and I put it there because the bag tends to dent in on the back. And while this pocket is really small, it spreads out and it makes that backside have a better shape. And then I've got my new Gucci Garden card case that came all the way from Florence, courtesy of my niece and my sister-in-law, which was oh so nice. And then I have my glasses cleaning cloth right here. And as you can tell, there's gobs of room in either pocket that I could put a cell phone as well. So that is my tour of the bag. Let me go ahead and try it on for you, and then I'll get to the other part of this double Louis Vuitton unboxing or reveal. So I'm wearing pink today, and look at how beautiful this bag is. Oh my goodness. I love it. And it's really pretty lightweight. It is so well made. I think that this is made better than the Pochette Métis, and I'm going to show you why as soon as I sit back down, but I do love wearing it like this, crossbody. It's just perfect. I think this bag is better made than the Pochette Métis because of the feet. That's number one. And number two is I like how the glazed flap tucks in right here and it's not jointed right there. The Pochette Métis tends to crack right here where the glazing that goes across meets up with the glazing on the flap. And on this bag, it just doesn't have that same sort of problem area, and I think that's really nice. They've also minimized the glazing on this high traffic area right here, where the microfiber meets up with the canvas, and also right here because the flap is folded under instead of being glazed. Now there is glazing around the side here on both sides, but the rest of the bag is pretty free of it. I mean, you've got this piping here, you've got the rolled canvas edge right there on the bottom and the top. This piece of trim has it right there. It does have the glazing on the strap, but most straps have that. The pochette métis, the lock on it, a lot of people don't like because it gets really scratched up. I think you're gonna probably run into the same problem with this bag, but I do feel like the hardware is made a little better, and that's why the scratching is so minimal on this, despite the fact that when you push it in, it drags across the inside there. I think that's probably why this tarnishes more, because it may be made out of real brass and the pochette métis is not. And so that's just a guess on my part. I don't know what it's made out of, but I think it's odd that these are all so very tarnished on the pre-love market. Almost all of them seem to be. Now, it may be partially because people left stickers on them, but this part right here, you can't leave a sticker on it and have it be operational. So the sticker theory doesn't really seem to hold true, at least for this part. And the ones I found pre-loved, the top part's generally lighter in color than this part because this part's tarnished, except for the little rings around the edges of the bolts. And by the way, those little bolts, they say Louis Vuitton on each one of them. And then you can see that little LV in the middle above the bar. It's super cute. So I think that's it for this bag today. Let's get to the second part of the unboxing because this is taking forever. I want to get to all the good stuff with you. I don't have this one wrapped up, but I do have a tag still on it, and we will do the honors of cutting the tag off together. So what I have is a Speedy 20 with a charm on it, and the Speedy 20 is not new. I bought this Speedy 20 directly from Louis Vuitton, but the charm is, look at how beautiful it is. It is part of the, I believe, the Ice collection. I can put the name of it, if I can find it, here at the bottom of the screen, but it's meant to look, I think, like ice, the way that the glass or the resin reflects the light. And I just love that it's got the different shades. I think you could wear this with pale colors, like what I have on with my shirt right now underneath this, or you could also pair it with a beautiful red. And the damier band, of course, looks so great with red. I think this charm looks very beautiful on it. I meant to show you me cutting it off. I've got the scissor in my hand, but then I put this down on my lap to cut it off. So, of course, now this charm is mine, but I got it from What Goes Around Comes Around. I can link them down below. I don't know much about them as a resale site. I've heard that they tend to be kind of pricey. This charm retailed, I believe, for at least $600. The price floor for charms like this on a chain has been around $600 for as long as I've been buying charms, and it's starting to rise. A lot of them are $700, $800, $900 now. I think this one's a little interesting because usually the clip part of it is on the opposite side and the ring is on the opposite side. So they did this one in reverse. It comes around, goes around, rated this really well. I zoomed in on their pictures. They had excellent pictures. There's very, very little scratching on the charms, almost none at all on the D-ring and the ring. And it just came to me in beautiful condition. And I have been playing with it. It looks good on, of course, both my Damier Ebene Speedies. It looks amazing on my Monogram Speedy 20 as well. And so I am definitely happy with this purchase. But I wanted to share it with you. There are actually several of these available on the pre-love market that you can find. I've seen them on eBay recently, and so I thought I would show it to you on a Speedy 20 so you would have an idea of how big it was. The little charms on this one are bigger in size than those on my other chain charms that I have. And so I was worried that it would be too big for the Speedy 20, but I think it looks quite lovely. So that'll do it for the day. I hope you enjoyed this double, or I guess triple, if you count the Rose Forever unboxing at the start. This triple unboxing. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what are you waiting for? Do it and ring the notification bell so that you are notified of future exciting content such as this. Also, go find me on Instagram. The name there's the same. It's the @ then the Handbag Housewife, all lowercase. You can DM me there, or you can email me at thehandbaghousewife@gmail.com. If I don't hear from you, I will see you again real soon. Take care and have a fabulous day. Bye.